Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. I would like to give a special thanks to Dadeland, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram for giving me time with the 2021 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. If you're in the market for a Jeep, you can come check out Dadeland, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram and ask for Brian. He will get you into a new or pre-owned vehicle. But let's talk about the Wrangler here. For 2021, Jeep has offered this new trim level here, which is the 4xe, and you can basically take this vehicle off-roading in electric mode. We'll talk about the different drive modes a little later on in the actual video. As you guys can see here at the front styling, this thing still looks like a Jeep Wrangler, and the only way that you can tell that this 4xe is because of the blue accents. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But looking here at the front styling, you still have the same 7-slot corporate Jeep fascia here. That's this front-facing camera, also with a washer on the end of it. Looking at these headlights here, they're full LED with an automatic low and high beam, with the LED daytime running light, with an LED turn signal, as you guys can see right there. Looking down here, Jeep does give you full LED fog lights, and for some reason my model is missing the blue painted tow hooks here. I'm not sure why Jeep doesn't offer that on the Sahara model here of the Wrangler. I want you guys to comment down below and tell me what you guys think about the Jeep Wrangler. But making our way to the side profile here and looking at these tires and wheels, these are a 275 55 Bridgestone tire. They're wrapped in this 20-inch rim design. I love the gloss black finish with the multi-spoke finish here. As you guys can see, there's a little Easter egg here on the actual rim design, and this is where you basically charge your Wrangler. You can use a 120 volt or a 240 volt. We'll talk about the charge times a little later on in the actual video. There's the trail-rated 4x4 system here. Like I mentioned, it's going to be painted blue to signify that you do have the Wrangler, that you do have the 4xe model. There's the Sahara name, also with the Jeep and Wrangler Unlimited badge there, and you can remove the doors and also fold down the windshield if you would like. The wheelbase here for the Wrangler is at 118.4 inches with an overall length of 188.4. But making our way to the rear here of the Jeep Wrangler, as you guys can see, there's a large full spare tire on back of the vehicle here. That's the 4xe badge here to signify that you have the plug-in variant of the Wrangler. There's also an LED light back here for the tag. There's parking sensors, and there's going to be one recovery hook here. I'm surprised they didn't put 2 recovery hooks here, and there's also that single exhaust trim there. But open up the cargo back here. This thing does open like a barn door, as you guys can see, so you can access the cargo area a little bit better and lift this up here. Jeep says you get around 27.7 cubic feet of space. Once you fold down the rear seats, that expands the cargo to 67.7 cubic feet of space. So plenty of cubic feet of space underneath here. Jeep does give you some underfloor storage. But overall, let's hop into the interior of the Jeep Wrangler. Sitting inside the interior of the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, looking at this interior here, Jeep didn't do any changes for this particular 4xe model, and my model is missing the blue stitching that you get inside the cabin. Like I mentioned, you do get the blue accents outside the cabin to signify that you have the 4xe model. But reaching over here to shut the door of the Jeep Wrangler, keep in mind you can take the door panels off. You can also fold down the windshield, and you can remove these panels up top. But to start up the Wrangler here, just put your foot on the brake and press the start-stop button right here. Once you do that, the vehicle will kind of roar to life, since this is the 4xe model, and it sounds extremely quiet in this cabin. Looking here at the door panel material, is going to be a soft touch ejection molded plastic. There is this aluminum painted door handle here. There's your mirror controls there on the actual door panel, your headlight controls, the fuel cap opener, your dimmer switch. There's in hybrid mode here, electric mode, and e-save mode, so you can basically save up the electric charge while you're out on the road or even on the trail and whatnot. This is a manual tilt and telescoping wheel. I'm surprised that Jeep didn't put a power tilt and telescoping wheel here on the Sahara model of the Wrangler. Nice high quality leather and stitching here, which feels really nice to touch. You can customize this digital display by this pad here. This does show your trip information, also your hybrid information, your fuel economy, which is really decent at 17.6 mpg. There's also your driver's assistance. It does have adaptive cruise control. There's your off-road page. It's saying right now the wheels are at 24 degrees, so it does show you a lot of stuff. There's your vehicle information, which shows you your tire pressure, so you can customize this digital display here to your liking. There's also the power gauge over there to show you where the battery is being fully charged, also the charging time for it and whatnot. There's the fuel gauge there. Over here is for the RPM. I'm surprised that Jeep didn't put an actual speed gauge in here, but they basically removed it to have the electric gauge, to have the power gauge right there. There's the turn signal and automatic high beam switch there. There's a wheel wiper stock right there. The materials on the dash are gonna be a nice leather material with nice stitching. And looking here, this is the bar here to basically let you know when the vehicle is fully charged or when it's halfway charged. This will light up a bright blue. This is an 8.4 Uconnect 4 system. This is not the Uconnect 5 system that Jeep offers, or they show on other models of the Jeep. Going here to the Apple CarPlay, I have to unlock my phone first. Looking here, as you guys can see, once my phone is unlocked, going here to the Uconnect 4 system here, the touch response is just super impressive. Jeep has been updating the system over the years. Going here to the Uconnect head unit here, as you guys can see, I love the dark black icons here and whatnot. It shows you really nice things, very responsive here. As you can see, going here to your different settings here, you can also drop and drag function, so you can have your off-road pages, your climate controls and whatnot on one screen if you would like. But going back into the Apple CarPlay, very bright screen. There's these big knobs here for the volume tune and also for the air conditioning fan. This is for the max regenerative braking here. So basically you have one pedal driving, but I think the vehicle does not come to a complete stop. We'll talk about that in the actual test drive. There's a traction control. There's the traction control here. There's a mute button. There's your parking sensors. There's a hill descent control. You can also turn off the screen if you would like. There's your window controls here. There's a Type C with the Type A port, also with an aux port right there. There's a 12 volt right here. This is for your off-road settings here. There's a 2 high, 4 high auto, a 4 high part-time, neutral, and a 4 low. This thing is really hard, so you have to have some really good manpower to basically shift this thing into the right gear that you want to do. There's also a little bit of storage here. Putting the Wrangler 4xe into reverse, you guys are greeted by this high resolution backup camera here. It does show you trajectory or distance markers. I'm not sure you guys can hear that, but there's like this roaring sound. Looking at it as a front-facing camera, you can also clean it by pressing that button there. Once you do that, it will keep the camera very clean and very crisp. It will keep the camera clean and very crisp, especially if you're off-roading and there's a lot of mud and dust and whatnot. But kicking it down here and over to the left, there's a manual mode and the transmission. And once I did that, the gas engine kicked back on. But putting the vehicle back into park, I love the leather around the shifter with a nice stitching here. There's 2 cup holders. This is the key fob here for the Jeep Wrangler. As you guys can see, there's a lock, unlock, remote start, a panic button. There's also the switchblade key on the side. My iPhone 12 Pro Max does fit. It's just that my case is really thick. Looking at this area here, it does reveal nice stitching. It's going to be nice and padded. Open up this. There's a 2-tier storage here to reveal a USB port inside there. The seats in here, they're supportive. They're comfortable. I love the nice high quality leather and stitching here. I'm surprised there's no heated seats here on the Sahara model of the Jeep Wrangler 4xe. And like I mentioned, you can remove these panels, fold down the windshield, and remove the doors. Looking at the glove compartment here, it does offer a little bit of storage. But overall, I'm very impressed with this cabin. I wish Jeep would have did a little bit more here for the Wrangler 4xe, but overall, it's still very impressive looking cabin. Getting into the back seat here of the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, open up the door here. As you guys can see, the door opens at a pretty decent angle, and my model also has these fixed running boards here, so you have any small children, they can't access the back seat even better. But getting back here, Jeep also throws in this grab handle here. As you guys can see here, I'm only 5'8". I do have a decent amount of headroom here, and keep in mind you can remove these panels to let more light and more air into this cabin. But looking down here, Jeep says you get around 38.3 inches of legroom. This is where I have the seat to drive, so this is matching the same legroom as something like a Toyota Camry. So pretty decent legroom back here in the Wrangler. There's also 2 mat pockets back here for storage. There's your rear air vents here. There's also your window controls. There's a household outlet with a USB charging ports here, which is a Type C and a Type A. Unfortunately, the floor back here is not flat, but you can fit a middle passenger here in the Wrangler. And pulling this up here, this is the 17 kilowatt hour battery pack. Jeep said they didn't put it outside of the vehicle because they did not want the battery pack to get corrosion or even get water damage. But overall, I think Jeep did a really good job with packaging the battery pack back here. Pulling this armrest down here, it does reveal 2 cup holders and a nice area to rest your elbows. Let's talk about the powertrain specs here for the Jeep Wrangler 4xe. As you guys can see here, I already have the hood open because my model uses a pop rod instead of hood struts. Jeep says it uses 2 electric motors. One motor is an engine-mounted generator unit. The second electric motor is integrated into the transmission. When you add up all the total horsepower between the engine and electric motor, you get 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. And this uses a 17 kilowatt hour battery pack to store the electricity for the hybrid setup. And as the Wrangler sits here, it weighs around 5,100 pounds. And Jeep says this can tow 3,500 pounds. Fuel economy, since you guys want to know, you get 20 miles per gallon with the 4-cylinder on its own. When you combine the gas and electric motor, Jeep says you get around 49 mpge. Let's talk about the charge time here for the Jeep Wrangler 4xe. Open up this door here. Once you pull this plastic cover back, it shows you the charging port, and there's this Easter egg here showing you guys a Jeep going over the mountain, which is a nice little Easter egg here inside the charging area. And there's the instructions to let you know when the vehicle is being charged or when it's not being charged. And Jeep has this indicator inside the actual cabin there. It will show you a full bar once the battery pack is fully charged. Like I mentioned, this does use a 17 kilowatt hour battery pack. If you guys go for a standard 120 volt, it's going to take 12 hours to charge up the 17 kilowatt hour battery pack. If you guys go for a 240 volt, it's going to take 2.5 hours. Me personally, I would just recommend going for the 240 volt because it's going to chop down the hours with the charge time. And once you have the battery pack fully charged, Jeep says you get around 25 miles of fully electric range. So starting off in the 2021 Jeep Wrangler 4xe, I just test drove the Ford Bronco, and one thing I'm going to say, I can feel the difference when it comes to the steering feel, because the Jeep Wrangler here has this recirculating ball type steering, so you constantly have to basically counter steer the vehicle. It's not bad, it's not a deal breaker for me personally speaking, and keep in mind, Ford doesn't even offer an electrified version of the Bronco. So if you guys want to have if you guys want to be ahead of the Bronco, you have to look at the Wrangler 4xe. Let's talk about the different modes here. You have electric mode, so basically this vehicle will drive on electric mode until the battery is depleted. So you have around 25 miles of cruising range when it comes to using the full-on battery. So I'm gonna basically put the vehicle in electric mode here, and right now we're in electric mode, so the gas engine will shut off, and it's like a little bit of a winding noise because you can hear the electric motor, which is really impressive for an off-road vehicle in this segment. Like I mentioned, this does compete against the Ford Bronco, and you do have regenerative braking. You can turn it on and off via this button here. So basically you do have one pedal driving. So if I were to lift off the gas, the vehicle will kind of slow down, and it will not come to a complete stop, but it will slow down enough to basically to grab that energy and put it back into that 17 kilowatt hour battery pack. This does have two electric motors. One is mounted to the engine generator, and one is mounted to give this thing a total output of 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. It has the same torque as the V8 Wrangler, which I haven't driven just yet, but fingers crossed, hopefully I can drive it in the future. Like I mentioned, right now we're in electric mode. I have around 3 miles until the battery is no more good. But once you put your foot to the floor, you can hear the electric motor and you can feel the surge of torque, which is really rich torque. Like I mentioned, you have around 470 pound-feet of torque. Over here, you do have hybrid mode, so it will fluctuate between the gas power engine and the electric motor. And you have e-save. So what e-save is, basically it will, you can turn it on and off. So if you wanted to save the battery at around 50%, and once you get onto the trail, you can turn it on and off to your liking. But just sitting here at a stop sign, the cabin is just extremely quiet. You don't hear any outside noise. I know with most Jeeps, once you're at a certain speed, you can hear a little bit of wind noise. And keep in mind, you can remove these panels if you would like. You can fold that windshield and remove the doors. I think on the Ford Bronco, you cannot let down the front windshield. So there's an advantage over the Bronco that Ford does not do. But like I mentioned, this does have that circular ball type steering. So you can feel what the front is doing. Me personally, I don't really like the feeling of that, but you guys have to get used to it if you're looking to purchase this vehicle. The ride quality here is really good, fantastic. Since my model is the Sierra model, does have these 20-inch wheels on it, and it does ride really good ride quality here. If you guys go for the other version, which is more of an off-road model, you get those aggressive tires. I tested that one once the dealership first got it in stock, and those tires were a little bit loud for my taste. But here with these street tires, is more quiet in this cabin. You do hear a little bit of wind noise from outside once you're like over 40 miles per hour, but just driving here is just really smooth and compliant. With the electric motor and the gas combined, you have around a 49 mpg, which is really good in this class. I think it's best in class fuel economy because the Bronco doesn't even compare to what this Jeep 4xe offers. And with the engine on its own, you get around 20 miles to the gallon. So it kind of takes a hit right there when it comes to the actual gas powered, once the engine is on by itself. But 20 miles to the gallon is not bad. But like I mentioned, if you guys are looking for an efficient Jeep Wrangler, I think the 4xe is one of the best options in this segment. Starting price here for the Jeep Wrangler 4xe is at $59,400. $435 with the options and accessories including destination. The Jeep Wrangler 4xe stickers for $66,669. Hope you guys have enjoyed this review here. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at DriveOnReviews and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next review.